So this is Al Burrell. I'm here with Prof. Snape live in Denver, and we've been talking Minecraft for a good hour, so hopefully I've saved some decent questions for you guys at this point. So Prof. Snape is a teacher by occupation. He is probably best known for his Lost map, both on YouTube. He's got a channel where he does builds, and also just from creating the map itself. He's also got Sesame Street and mini golf. So I have a couple prepared questions that I'm going to ask him. And I'm just going to have him say hello first to see if we have decent sound level here with the background noise.
All right. Hey, guys. It's Prof. Snape here. And yes, we are live.
All right. So my first question is a general question. And of the 3 maps you made and then any future maps, like how much planning would you say goes into your map? And do you do a lot of research before it, or do you just jump in and start playing?
So yeah, the planning part to me is probably one of the most important parts, and it's really one of the most fun aspects of creating maps and just doing any builds or whatever that we're planning on doing. I would say, for Lost, we probably planned it a good solid 2 weeks before we even started building, and that was because there's so much creative liberties that we had to make because we don't really know where anything is. And mini golf, we just sort of dove in. I remember we were actually in Chicago. My brother was graduating from undergrad, and we basically the day before graduation, day of graduation, day after graduation, we basically drew out golf holes, and that's how we did it on paper. With the Sesame Street map, I looked at the Muppet Wiki. It was very helpful. I also watched a couple of YouTube videos on Sesame Street just to kind of get the color and also kind of where things were laid out. Again, that probably took about a week straight just of planning, figuring out what I wanted to do. And of course, if you've seen the map, there's a lot of things that aren't on Sesame Street that are actually in the map, and I had to figure out what I wanted to do because I did want to get the Count involved, Cookie Monster involved, and of course Elmo involved. And I didn't want to make Elmo's apartment because it was behind the arbor. If you're familiar with that, it is. It's like the garage with the green door. And if I had done that, it would have been hidden from the actual street, so I had to change that. But yeah, I would say probably about 2 weeks to a week to 2 weeks at the most.
Cool, thank you. It still blows my mind, and you've told me this before, but 2 weeks of planning and getting Lost ready just seems like such a short amount of time for such a huge map. Okay, so my next prepared question was, do you play many custom maps? Like, are there some favorites that inspired you to make your maps?
It's really hard because once you start making custom maps, you sort of have like this, your perspective changes a lot, I think, when you look at other people's maps. So, and even before we started making maps, we really didn't play that many maps, and it wasn't because we're awesome and everyone else is bad. It was mostly because we didn't even see the point, I guess. We were so busy with our own thing on our own server at the time, just having fun and surviving, I guess. And I think once that got tired, we were looking for different things to do. I would say that obviously I play your maps every chance I get. I played them all. Even the Garfield one, and yeah, even the Garfield one. The one thing that I like about the different maps that I do happen to play, which again is not very much, it's not a lot, and I wouldn't say it's a big variety. If Yogcast plays a map, I don't download it because it has no interest to me, and it's not because I don't like them or I don't like what they've done. It's just I see the map, I see the thread, and I'm like, I don't want to play that map. It just, I don't know, I'm not interested in it enough, I guess. Yeah, I guess. But I think one of the things that I love about visiting other maps that I do get an opportunity to either be a part of, like the Minecraft Harry Potter, or just any other map that I do take the actual time to download. I do like to see what they've built because I'm always learning new things, new ideas, new ways of making things that I originally make. Like, for example, in the Harry Potter map, they used, I think it was cobblestone stairs. Like, I've never seen anyone use cobblestone stairs before to make buildings. And they made such great, like, archways that I was so impressed. And I know it seems dumb, But that's all I kept asking them about was, who made that? Because when I look at that, I never would have thought of that in the first place. But secondly, it looks really good, and that's really the thing that I like to see. And you can tell that someone has actually made a good map when I think they recognize the things that are very unnoticeable to, I think, your casual player. It's sort of like, I think, as we're sitting here watching football, it's kind of like you won't know that the offensive linemen are blocking well unless you actually play offensive, because nobody's watching them block. You know, everyone's watching the quarterback or the running back or the wide receiver, but nobody's watching the line, and that's really where all the hard work is sort of going towards. So I like those things, and I'm always learning, and I try to incorporate what I see from other people, and I hope that they incorporate what they see from what we do well into maybe some of their builds, and some of our techniques into some of, you know, what they're trying to do when it comes to them building.
So is that a hint that you're going to build a football map next?
No, I probably won't build a football map. We want to build a stadium, but there's already stadiums out there. We might build a Aloha Stadium in Hawaii. That might be kind of fun to do because, you know, we've been there, and it's very specific to obviously Hawaii. But that'd be a fun challenge to build a stadium.
All right, so Hawaii is a good segue into Lost. I only have, I think, 2 Lost questions. Okay, so for Lost, like, it is a huge island, and I think I played it. It's an amazing map. Like, you guys recreated the individual scenes very well. But the thing that I keep asking myself is, like, at what point did you fully realize, like, the size of what you're building? Not only the physical size, but the fact that you decided to cover, like, all 6 seasons of storyline. Did you know that going in, or did, like, partway through you just said, oh, crud, what did we agree to do here?
Well, yeah, that's a really good question. When we decided to do Lost, we originally had all the Dharma stations, the crash site, obviously, the others, you know, sort of the building camp part, not the fake one, and Hydro Island, and that was pretty much it. We really didn't think about what we were gonna do, and honestly, I did not even write a story for it when we first made it. I wrote it fairly quickly, which you can probably tell. But there was no storyline. We were just going to make it just a pure scenery thing where all you had to do was, you know, you spawn on the island, you look around, oh, it's so awesome. And that was pretty much it. We didn't really have it where, you know, there were objectives, there were goals, there were even things to do on the island. It was just more for a show type of thing, and also to prove that we could do it. So I'm also glad that was added in pretty late. I also am glad about the custom skins. We did not think about that. We didn't know where the skins would come from. I knew I wanted custom skins, and again, that was sort of my big picture, you know, mentality. I was like, we need to have skins. We need to have a map, a physical map, and we also need to have a banner, a screensaver, or a wallpaper, I guess. Because I wanted that to be included, because I haven't seen a lot of maps that include that, and I really think to get in character, because it's such a, you know, such a hardcore fan base, I would think they would want to play those characters, and so we got lucky that someone volunteered to do all the skins, and they were amazing, and she did them so quickly that I'm very happy that she was a part of the project. But yeah, the size of the island changed probably about 3 times, because we mapped it out. We started obviously at the beach with the crash site, and we moved up. But every time we kept moving up, we ran out of room, and so we always had to constantly reshape things. Unfortunately, with MC Edit, we could just cut part of the island, you know, move it up maybe 100 blocks or whatever, and then just fill in that gap. And so it wasn't like we had to reconstruct a whole lot of different things. But I do remember going in with, you know, World Edit wand and actually having to replace water with grass because, you know, it wasn't as perfect as what it looks like now. There are so many like lakes and you know, water indents in the island that just made it just not look very good. So we had to do a lot by hand. But again, MC Edit was so great. But yeah, the magnitude of the island did change. And, you know, I think that it turned out okay. I think there's enough walking. It's probably a little bit too much walking for some people, which is why I encourage you to use the bed. use the compass if you can to sort of jump or even fly. But you know, it is an island. You're not supposed to know where anything is, and you know, even though it's not in the TV show, they did actually have to walk to certain spots. So we wanted to make sure that that was part of it.
Yep, cool. Those skins were awesome. And as far as moving parts of the island around, I don't remember seeing any like strips of land that looked like you cut and paste them. It looked like you smoothed them all out. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so next, this is I think my last Lost question. So you also mentioned writing the story kind of late in the building process. Like, did you make a conscious decision to present your story in a text file and not put any signs in, and like the way that you did that, or was that just kind of how it turned out?
Yeah, in terms of the story, I guess again, you have everyone should remember that this was really our first real map, and it was a big project. We did the mini golf map, but it's pretty self-explanatory, and so obviously it jumps a lot from mini golf all the way to creating a big series or a Lost Island. So that was really the first time I even thought about story. I even thought about rules, and again, we never really downloaded a map, so we had no idea what was needed, you know, what you had to have, and so yeah, I guess I felt like if people didn't want to follow the story, because I knew that not everyone would be Lost fans, and I didn't want these signs and inside things that people wouldn't get. Like, obviously, the numbers on the hatch, if you've never seen the show, you're like, what is this, you know? But you know, we also didn't want the island to be so cluttered with these weird signposts. It probably would have been easier to find things, and so we did label where the stations were in terms of on our map that we provided, but also on the outside, I think, of every Dharma station we had. Like, you know, this was the arrow, you know, this was the swan, or you know, things like that. So, but yeah, in terms of the story part, we were hoping people would refer back to the text file, which I know can be a hassle because I run Minecraft on single screen, full screen, and that means that if I have to look at a text file, I have to exit out of Minecraft, minimize it, and then read the text file and then get back into the game, which I know can be distracting for some people. But yeah, again, you know, first time writing the story, basically just looked at the Lost Wiki summary of every episode, and I picked out the best parts that I thought would kind of work, because it does get a little weird towards the end of the series with all the jumping and all that. When we didn't want to do that, so yeah, it was, I think, a pretty good first try. Obviously, I didn't have to write much because Lost is already written, and it's a great show by itself. And you know, it was a good experience because I think it'll help in future adventure maps that we do, you know, one day plan on doing. It'll help with that writing process and write with I think it's not only writing the good story, but also, you know, one of the things that I saw from your rating system was this idea of pacing, which I never would have thought about, because I just sort of assumed you do one thing, you do another thing, you do another thing, then you're done, you know. But there is some, I think, merit into having, I think, time, the at least a good amount of time between certain things. And by good, I mean not like good, bad, but just making sure that time is right. It could be like 2 seconds and then you move on to the next thing, or it could be, you know, a good 2 minutes of just some downtime before you move on to the next, you know, puzzle or whatever. And I think that's really important. So that's definitely something I'm keeping in mind when I'm, you know, planning other things that we're going to do in the future. But obviously in a Lost map, I didn't have that in mind. I was just like, you know, build it, just play the map at your own pace, just do whatever you want. Because that's how we would have played it. If we were given that map, we would just been like, okay, we're going to play it until we do, you know, objective 10, and then we're going to go sleep, and then, you know, we'll continue it later. But yeah, it was good. It was a good experience, and hopefully people enjoyed it, I guess. That was the main thing. I didn't want to argue Lost, you know, Lost trivia or Lost storylines. That wasn't the point. I just wanted to make sure that there was at least something that people could follow if they were fans of the show.
Yep, I think it worked. I saw YouTube videos of people playing it by your storyline. People just wandering around and going, "Oh yeah, there's the Beechcraft. Oh yeah, there's this," and doing things out of order. So Cool. All right, so the other map that I played was Sesame Street, and this was really great for me because I've got an 8-year-old. He likes to play Minecraft with his friends, which are 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. So we've had a bunch of kids over at the house, and it was good to find maps that are geared toward that age group. You may have been asked this before, but why did you choose that theme and that style of map, meeting the scavenger hunt, versus doing another adventure map?
Yeah, after the Lost map, it was really hard. I mean, what could we follow it up by? And we were thinking about a lot of different things, obviously. People suggested a lot of great ideas, but none of them really interest us. And so, we were also busy with our Build Off Versus series and Justin TV and all of this. So there wasn't really, anything that I think really popped at us and we're like, oh, we got to do that. And I said jokingly to Icona Kona, I said, we should do Sesame Street one of these days. And eventually that was the map that I worked on by myself initially. I probably worked on it for about 3 or 4 days by myself, obviously after planning it out and what I wanted. And he came by and he helped me out, and that's how we got it done. And in terms of the storyline, it was actually I Has Cupquake's idea for a story and the scavenger hunt. And she also provided the skins in the map download. But she asked me because as soon as I made the map, I was like, okay, who can play this that might want to play it? Because obviously, it was for the kids, and that was always the intention. But I thought, well, maybe someone bigger might want to play it and just try it out. And so I thought about her, never talked to her before, and I sent her a message, and she got back to me right away. She said, yes, I'll do it. And so we're talking back and forth on Skype, and very, very nice, very professional. And she asked me, oh, so is there a adventure? Are there notes? And I said, no, not really. And then I thought about it. I was like, maybe I should make one. And so she made the skins, and I made the scavenger hunt thing. And that's sort of how that came to be. It wasn't originally my plan. I just thought kids would like to walk around, hit some levers, and just see all the different colors, and that would be good enough for them. But yeah, the scavenger hunt, it was okay. I don't know if people get frustrated, and obviously with X-ray mod and other things, they could cheat and burn things down and find all the chests. But I hope that people enjoyed, again, something different from what we've done before, and in something that they're very familiar with, like in a map that they understand, and they'll be able to at least remember some of the iconic settings and places, and that's really what. That was all our goal was just basically to do a map that young kids could sort of enjoy and understand, and hopefully more people in the future, especially the future of Minecraft. I hope that when parents see that map that Sesame Street is available, I hope that they'll be like, okay, cool, there's something for my child to play, and not be turned off by creepers and zombies and skeletons and spiders all the time, because that's a lot of what is out there in terms of Minecraft. When you see that, it's like, whoa, my kid can't fight, and I don't even know how to make a sword, and those little kids, they shouldn't have to know how to make swords, because they're just learning. They want to place blocks and jump and have fun, so that's sort of what we had in mind, and I hope that a lot of people can enjoy it for the future, and that's really what I wanted to do when I sort of planned this out. Was I wanted to make sure that there was something for the future of Minecraft and not just for the now, because I do enjoy the game, and it would be a real shame if it died off, a little prematurely before it even got released.